welcome back to Movies for Authors. This is episode 9. This is your host, MB Mooney, and today we are going to be going over one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie of all time, Say Anything. Now, I am breaking one of my rules here in the sense that, again, you're not going to find this on Netflix streaming. You're not going to find it out at Redbox. If you get it from Netflix, you're going to probably have to get it as a DVD, you know, if you have that part of your plan. Or, my suggestion is, if you are an author, you really should own this movie. Own it, watch the special features, watch it with commentary. This is a movie you should kind of study as a writer. It really was kind of a landmark movie. A huge movie that transitioned from kind of the cheesy 80s teen movies to trying to treat teens with a little more intelligence through the 90s and young adults. So, really, you should own this movie. So let's get into it. And since this is one of my favorite movies, you should probably be ready for a little longer of a video. All right, Cameron Crowe is the writer and director of Say Anything. If you know Cameron Crowe, he kind of got his start from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He wrote that screenplay. It's kind of where he kind of got his start and kind of leveraged that into more of a career, into the point where he started making his own movies and directing them, not only writing them but directing them as well. And so this was his directorial debut, they call it, right? This is the first movie he directed, and it had John Cusack in it, Ione Skye, who unfortunately really didn't do much after this movie, but John Mahoney, that you might remember from Frasier and things later on. But it really had a lot of people in it that you would recognize as you watch the movie. Eric Stoltz has a little bit part in it. And it's just got a lot of really cool people in it, and it's just really well done, really well made. And like I said, it was kind of this first movie that really showed teens as kind of intelligent, mature people. And so as we get into it, I'm going to get into kind of what's important about the movie that we should talk about today. But first, we're going to get to the quote of the movie. Now, there are a lot of quotes from this movie that I could have chosen. And I'm going to just go ahead and just choose the most obvious one, because it really gives Lloyd Dobler's character. Lloyd Dobler is the main character of this movie, if you don't know. And he kind of has a speech, a little spiel here towards the beginning of the movie, where he's asked, what are you going to do with your life? And it's kind of the theme of the movie. What is his job? What is he going to do? What are his goals in life? What is he going to go to college to do as a career or whatever? And so he starts to date this girl who's a valedictorian, and she has all these life goals. And her father asks him, you know, Lloyd, they're at dinner together, you know, what's your future? What are your plans for the future? And this is his speech, and you can probably say it right along with me. I'm going to just go ahead and do the whole thing, but you can probably say the whole thing along with me. He says, you mean like career? I don't know. I've thought about it quite a bit, sir, and I'd have to say, considering what's waiting out there for me, I don't want to sell anything, buy anything, or process anything as a career. I don't want to sell anything bought or processed, or buy anything sold or processed, or process anything sold, bought, or processed, or repair anything sold, bought, or processed. You know, as a career, I don't want to do that. So my father's in the Army, and he wants me to join, but I can't work for that corporation. So what I've been doing lately is kickboxing, which is really a new sport, but I think it's got a good future. As far as career longevity goes, I don't really know, because, you know, you can't really tell. You're training 6 as a fighter, you know, but it's no good, you know. You have to be great, but I can't really tell if I'm great until I've had a couple of pro fights. But I haven't been knocked down yet. I don't know. I can't figure it all out tonight, sir. I'm just going to hang with your daughter. And that really kind of sums up Lloyd Dobler's character. That speech right there, which interestingly enough, I just learned recently, was written by John Cusack, the actor. He really felt Lloyd Dobler needed to have like a manifesto. Like, he was the kind of guy who would have like a manifesto about his life. And so he wrote that and developed it with Cameron Crowe, the writer, and then they used it in the movie. And it really just kind of encapsulates Lloyd Dobler as a character. So let's get into what can we learn as authors from this movie. And because this is one of my favorite movies, and I've already told you it's going to be a little longer video, I'm going to choose 2 things. That's right. Number 1, The dialogue in this movie is amazing. They really did a great job. This is the first movie that really kind of to turn it around for some of these teen movies about making dialogue that was real genuine, that kind of captured that awkwardness of being a teenager without just being stupid, but it also had nice one-liners. And so there's this great balance of kind of the awkwardness of being a young person and teenagers and trying to figure out what to do and say, but at the same time, you know, them expressing themselves and just kind of being expressive and having these great one-liners as you go along in the dialogue. And so as you watch the movie, really pay attention to that. Really pay attention to how there is that balance of kind of the genuineness of the character kind of coming out in this awkward kind of way that they're talking and conversing, but also just great one-liners as you get into it, okay? I think that's a really great kind of balance to try to have as a writer. And then the second thing that we're going to get into today is that the secondary characters, the kind of the bit parts in this movie are real and they're genuine and they're unique and they're memorable. You can get into everything from Eric Stoltz's character to other guys and girls from the movie that when you see them, there's like an immediate character to them, that when they kind of interact with somebody, they have an immediate impact on the scene. And so that's another thing that we need to look at as writers. How can your characters not just be secondary flat characters, but how to make your characters contribute something to the scene in such a way that they are memorable, that you remember the things that they say, that they have kind of good one-liners and those kind of things as well. They don't steal the scene, maybe they do, but they don't steal the movie. They might steal the scene, but at the same time, like, how can you put those characters into your writing, into those scenes where they might be a little quirky or eccentric or something, but they're not, they're there to serve a purpose, but you can actually have fun with them. And Cameron Crowe does a really good job with that, about these characters. It's like he just took these crazy guys or girls that he knew and just put them into the movie and made them real and kind of, you know, put them into contact with other characters, and they just kind of interacted. And so those are two things. As you write, try to have dialogue that feels genuine, that flows, and maybe has a little bit of an awkwardness to it because that's kind of how life is, but also has really good one-liners. It really says something that kind of cuts to the heart of some things. And then have great secondary characters that really kind of steal the scene and are memorable. So there you go. It's kind of a long one. If you made it all the way through, I applaud you. If not, you're not really listening. So God bless and have a good day. Bye.